Your style and your flavor make the city rock. They must say the season come out with a bang. Coach Minzy, best round here. Remember that.
Taste Jamaican now with Ketchup Vibe jerk sauce.
Our signature jerk sauce is a bold blend of sweet heat, Jamaican herbs.
How that jerk sauce taste, Charlie? Alright, man. Yeah. That Ketchup Vibe sauce.
This is Don Bones. I'm going to represent the Ketchup Vibe. A whole heap of sauce out there. But now we have the better vibe. Ha!
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I see my engineer already here in the building. People, thanks for joining us in another episode of the Coach's Desk, and we will be having a special guest with us on this show. You understand? Yes, we'll be having the man QBC Gobin, the former manager of Johan Blake. And I tell you, we have to give much homage to Coach Wilson. And I remember when Coach Wilson did him say we're gonna make the thing happen. Well, Coach Wilson has to get kudos for this one. He actually made it happen, and we're gonna be having agent / manager Cubie Seegobin online, and he will be sharing his story, and he will be just as Coach Wilson said, uncensored, unfiltered. Yeah, man. So on. So big up the people them in the place. Al G, big up yourself. Drew Ross in the building. Steve Rob, big up everybody who come here already. Ayana, big up yourself. Sula Bell, big up yourself. And we're not gonna be wasting any time. We're gonna get right into it, my people, and we'll be bringing on Mr. Cubie Seegobin to center stage. Big up Kino. Cubie Seegobin, welcome to the Coach's Desk. Your first time being on this show.
Good evening, Coach, and good evening to all your followers and the people who are watching from all around the world. I know it's that this was touted as it is, and so a lot of people were trying to get the link to view the show tonight because it's always some kind of controversy when I'm on these shows.
Oh, well. We're going to be talking about what transpired, you blasting the J3s, So I'm telling you, we're gonna talk about the things. But how was the day though? What sort of day you had today?
Today was pretty cool. I studied a little bit for your show because I know how intelligent your followers are.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to come with the difficult questions, and I like doing difficult interviews. I just kind of reviewed some of the, my dates and stuff. So I'm kind of like correct with dates and stuff if I talk about dates. I don't like to talk in, innuendos and all that stuff, Coach. I like to just talk in straight. And, as I told you when we talked about this, I said no question is off limits. Remember, I told you this.
Yes.
And I will answer you truthfully and honestly. And I think there's some things that people need to know.
Yeah, definitely.
I think, Coach, it's very important that your followers know history of certain things. A lot of your followers are young uns, and people who don't understand the history of a lot of stuff. So with that in mind, I want to at least bring them into a historic kind of interview.
All right, and we'll be definitely delving into that. We see Coach Maurice Wilson already in the chat. He said the most experienced agent in the business and one of the most honest persons I've ever met. And he's saying bless up. But people, before we get into this interview, I'm telling you, tomorrow we're going to be having a medalist on the show tomorrow. Yes, Orlando Bennett will be joining us tomorrow. I know it was slated for Thursday, but please, we're gonna have a back-to-back. So after we hear from the big bad agent Cubie Seegobin, we're going to be hearing from Orlando Bennett. And I tell you, people, we have some more interviews lined up for you. I mean, I talk about some champions and some medalists again. You understand? But QB, we don't want to talk too much about that because tonight is about you, So we want the people to understand. So firstly, I want to tell you what inspired you to become a sports agent and how did you get started in track and field industry? So tell us about that.
Okay, it's so I was born in Guyana. People never knew that until I think it's 2021. I did an interview on Sports Max, and I said I was born in Guyana, and then everything went on fire. But people knew I was born in Guyana. But as usual, politics kind of hid me from that. Okay, so I came to America in when I was 16 years old in 1969, and I might be giving away my age by saying all of this. And I completed high school. And then I was surrounded by a very eloquent fraternity of Jamaican scholars that insisted that I should go to college. Among these scholars were Omar Davies, Michael Witter, my uncle who was at Stanford University at the time, Noel Samaru, Michael McIntosh, who went on to be a minister in Trinidad, and a lot of Africans. And I used to sit around and listen to these guys talk about politics, at that time. And they always used to say to me, you have to go to college. You have to go to college. So, and behold, coach, they shipped me off to New York to Delphi University, where I went to study sociology and political science. And it was 1972. Yeah. And I'm there ready to study political science and sociology. And I had a room. I didn't have a roommate. And one evening, I got a knock on the door from the RA, and they said, "Look, we have a person here that needs a roommate, and we was wondering if you wouldn't mind." I said, "Of course not." Lo and behold, it turned out to be a Jamaican athlete, a very famous Jamaican athlete at the time. And for those of you who don't know, it was one of Jamaica's top sprinters at the time, Richard Hardware. Okay. I don't know. A lot of you would not have known that name, but he was a very prominent sprinter, very good sprinter. And he was during the time of Don Quarry. He ran in the 72 Olympics, and he was in the second semifinal. I think he became fifth in the second semifinal, but brilliant sprinter. Okay. Brilliant sprinter. I think he went to Excelsior, if I'm not... I think I tried to find it out because at the time I didn't. So we started rooming together, Coach Mincy. And I ended up having to do a lot of his athletic business in helping him at the time with shoe deals and talking to people about his racing and everything like that. And I actually used to help him write his papers too, because he was a political science major too. Okay. So, I used to help him with that. And, he came from the 72 Olympics, and then we went to the 76 Olympics. And through him, I was introduced to the Puma people because I was dealing with all these shoe companies for him. And I ended up meeting the owner of Puma, the original owner. Yeah. Not the Puma that you people know of today. I met the original Puma, the owner.
You mean the person, the one of the brothers who started the...
No, I met the son.
Oh, the son. Okay.
Well, no, don't.
Apparently, he froze there. We lost him.
Coach, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing it. Oh, yeah, you're back.
Yeah. Sorry about that. My apologies.
Apparently, persons are calling. They're using their phone, right?
Yes, they're calling in. Yeah, I'm using my phone. It's okay.
People do not call QBC Gobin right now. If you're watching, don't call him right now because he's on the coach's desk. All right.
Continue. So I met Armand Dassler, who was the son of the Rudolph Dassler, and of course the other brother is Horst Dassler, who was the son of Adi Dassler. And so we struck up a relationship. Fast forward, I graduated with my first degree in BA in communications. I had to change my whole major, Coach Menzie, to facilitate working with Richard, and helping him.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
and it was no more political science or sociology. So I did my BA in communications, and then in dealing with Adidas, they said, hey, if you want to work for us, you got to go higher. So I did my MBA, coach. In 1976, I started my MBA in business management. That's when there weren't no computers, coach. You had to go to class and study,
And go to the
read the
library.
books. Yes. And those teachers in those days were very, very hard. It wasn't like it is today. You can go online and do all the research and everything. So in 1979, I got my MBA, and I started working for Puma International.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked for Puma International. And see, a lot of the people in Jamaica and the people there don't know this. Okay. And then after the 80 Olympics, they assigned me to work on the 84 Olympics. So I started working for Puma USA.
Mm.
And I worked for Puma USA up until 1986, coach. I was the only minority that rose very high in Puma USA at the time. But then what happened, coach, and this is very important, the banks took the companies over, both Adidas and Puma, and they went public. So we all were given our severance and said goodbye to. So I was sitting around for like about, 3-4 months, not knowing what the hell I was going to do. In the meantime, I had a really illustrious career with Puma and signing a lot of famous athletes and doing a lot of deals on their behalf. So one day I got a call from a person by the name of Ronaldo Nehemiah, who I had worked with when I was at Puma. I had, did his deal with him and everything. And he said to me, why don't you do what you were doing for Puma? And I said, yeah, that makes sense. So I started, he wanted me to represent him because he had just come back out of football.
Yeah.
He had gone to football. So I started with him and another young lady by the name of Diane Williams, a female sprinter, American sprinter. And I started from then, and I grew and grew and grew and grew. I started QB management in 1986.
Okay.
And so I've been one of the longest managers, and I was with Puma until 1986. And to boot, coach, I brought Puma to Jamaica, the original Puma. I brought to Jamaica.
You?
Okay, so yes, I did. And there's people who can tell you that are still alive.
So
I
you're
was the
saying
one.
that you introduced Puma to Jamaica?
Yes, with Mr. Aris, Howard Aris. And if you remember, Herb McKinley was an Adidas person. There was nobody in Jamaica that could wear anything but Adidas. Nobody. Go back and look.
So
Coach
Jamaica
Renzi.
was an Adidas company before?
All along.
Country before?
All along until 2002, Coach Minzy. Don't let them fool you. I have the receipts. And there are people still alive. Bert Cameron will tell you that. Merle Naughty will tell you that. Judy Cuthbert will tell you that.
I remember one time I used to see Jamaican athletes in Adidas for real.
Coach, nobody could wear anything but Adidas as long as Herb McKinley was alive. Okay, and Howard Aris, through my interaction with him, at the time, Howard Aris was a physiotherapist in the 70s. Was with Puma. Okay? So let me clear that up for you first. So that's the history of it. And I was involved in the negotiations in 2002 between Adidas and Puma. And during that time, Coach Menzie, the people do not know this, but Reebok was with the Olympic Jamaica Olympics.
Yeah, I remember the Reebok.
Okay, right. And don't forget, at that time, Adidas was with the J3As and Reebok was the Olympic Association.
So
okay. So I was involved in 2002 in the negotiations with Puma and Adidas, and I can tell you point blankly, at that time, Adidas had more money on the table in 2002.
Well, more you stick a pin right there, Senna, because we have to come back to the Adidas and Puma conversation. We don't want it go over and that, because that sound like you have some real connecting information there. Like when you go up on a connecting flight and you miss. But save that for now, Cubie. Let me ask you the second question, because you spoke about what transpired in the past in terms of your management, right?
Mm-hmm.
How has that, in terms of the sports management, then that landscape, then how is it? How has it changed since you first began in the game?
Dramatically. I mean, when I started in the game, coach, there wasn't the kind of money that was involved right now. There was nowhere close to what we're getting now. I used to work for 7% of my deals, and then I started 10. Then a young lady who I represented that went to school in Harvard, uh, um, an American athlete, one evening came and knocked on my door. We were at a meeting. She said, "You know what, QB? I'm going to pay you 15%." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because you're worth every percentage of the money." Famous athlete by the name of Meredith Rainey, 800-meter runner for America, went to Harvard University. And you know what the deal was, Coach Menzie?
No.
She made me promise her that I would carry in my briefcase a copy of my BA and my NBA certificate, which I carry up to this day, Coach Menzie, because she wanted people to know that her minority manager was educated enough to represent her.
Oh, so they thought that persons like yourself was not educated. It's just
Exactly.
oh.
And to this day, Coach Menzie, if you ever see me and you ask me, show it to you, I have it in my briefcase right now. I have a copy of my master's degree and my BA degree. And that's why I take offense when people call me an agent, because I'm not an agent. I'm a manager.
Oh, you're a manager. Okay.
I think there's a difference.
Tell us the difference.
Well, an agent, anybody can be an agent, Coach Menzie. An agent is a mouthpiece. You can come to me and say, QB, I'm going to pay you $10. Whereas somebody like me know how to negotiate. Somebody like me know how to put it in writing. Numbers are numbers, Coach, but then you have to put it into writing. You have to make it hold its strength.
Okay. Okay. So if I ever call you agent, my apologies, sir, but manager.
well, I'm happy that you're giving me the opportunity to clear these things up, because there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation, and I want to clear some of it up tonight with you. And because I don't do too many interviews, as you know. So I want to clear it up, and I like I said, I'm prepared to answer any question you pose to me.
Right. I see some one of my resident principal in the chat said that you don't mince words, so I have to be very careful how I go about saying things. But I'm happy that you're actually clearing that up, because yes, there's this sort of misnomer where people believe that it's just agent, and you're making the clarification that it is not an agent. It has to do with.
And I can say this, Coach Menzie, it's sad because we have a lot of people running wrong, saying they're agents and managers that are misrepresenting a lot of our athletes. And when I say our athletes, I'm talking about our Jamaican athletes.
But since you're on that, what sort of qualification do you have to have? Some sort of management qualification to do what you do?
Well, before anybody could do it, Coach Menzie, but now World Athletics is regulating that you have to take the exam, you have to pass it, you have to be bonded, so you don't steal people's money and you can't pay it back. You have to go through a lot of classes, including the safeguard class, which is the most modern one, which I'll come back to. But yeah, you have to take the exam. You have to be authorized now by World Athletics. Before anybody could be a manager or an agent. Now you have to be authorized. You have to pay a fee. You have to go before a panel. They have to approve you. You have to do the study and everything. I was grandfathered in because I was one of the original managers from 1986.
Yeah, so it's not.
But a lot of people are taking the exams, and a lot of people are passing it. But you have to have the experience too, Coach Menzie.
Yeah. All right, that sounds good. Big up to Jeremy and Hamilton in the building. Coach Jeremy and Hamilton. Objectivity, big up yourself. What has been the most rewarding part of your career so far? Being a manager.
Well, working with working with the older athletes, working with people like Sandy Richards and Raymond Stewart and Beverly McDonald, and the athletes from before this modern set of athletes. These were the athletes that laid the groundwork for what we are today. And it was always a pleasure working with them. and I'm friends with some of them still to this day. Samantha Henry Robinson, Kellyanne Baptiste, some of the great ones. I can't even remember some of them, Coach Minzy. There's
So,
so
so
many. I'm talking about Jamaicans. I'm not talking about Americans.
oh,
I
so
mean,
you want to just give us a rundown of some of the athletes that you'd have, or it's too much?
no, it's too much, but I will tell you some of them. Butch Reynolds, I represented.
Uh-huh.
I represented Charles Austin. I think the best high jumper ever in the world. The American. He was the last American I ever represented. Olympic champion, world champion, Olympic record holder, indoor world champion. He's the last American I ever represented. I mean, I had Butch Reynolds, I had Ronaldo Nehemiah, Danny Harris, Andre Phillips, the Olympic champion, Benita Fitzgerald, hurdles champion, world champion, Olympic champion. I could go on and on.
Okay. You have well, you said you're the godfather or grandfather of this thing, so I would believe that you'd have had several athletes under your auspices, right? And that is
Yep.
good. But in terms of the biggest challenges that you'd have had in your early career as an athlete manager, what would be some of those?
The biggest challenge is, well, everything wasn't as nice as it is today, Coach Minzy. We were paid in cash at the time. Now people wire transfer. Everything is more legit now. Before, there were a lot of underhand payments, whether it's by the shoe companies, whether it's by the meat promoters, and so on and so forth. And there's always a problem with the money issue, bringing the money back into the States or wherever. And getting the athletes into the meets, the same issue now. We moved in a more professional way now, but before it was always very clandestine business at the time.
Sean, big up yourself, Sean Samuels. Let me take this question from the chat. Objectivity is asking, what are the current, or who are the current Jamaicans that you manage?
Okay, so let's start with Rashawn Clark. Let's start with Demish Gay, KDN Golson, Bawaji, Antonio Watson, Ashanti Moore, Yannick Thompson, Emmanuel Hudson, Emmanuel Archibald, Marciniel Rose, Tajay White. That's the name of few.
Okay, so you got those young
and I have a new one, which I think I guess I can announce. I do have Sabrina Dockery.
Okay. So
I don't that's the first time anybody will know now. That's a first, Coach Mincy.
So can I ask you questions in regards to her, because I saw her in some Adidas kit in at the junior Panamino. Is she a signed athlete right now?
Yeah, she is, Coach Mincy.
And where's she going? Do you mind
telling us? That I can't disclose.
Oh, you can't disclose that. All right, no problem. In
due time.
All right. So Sabrina Dockery is under the auspices of Mr. Cubie Seegobin. So, all right, in terms of World Championship that just finished, Cubie, did you have like a prediction on because I know you're involved in the sport? You're not just a manager, I suspect that you'd be one that is interested in terms of probably medal prediction and all of these things. What sort of prediction that you had for Jamaica, if there be any?
Well, if you remember last year, I did a very devastating interview after the Olympics.
Yeah.
And I made some serious comments, and I still hold to those comments that Jamaica track and field is in decline. I still hold to that because Jamaica track and field is in a culture that I think is not in the best interest of Jamaica track and field. However, I was pleasantly surprised by 10 medals, but I have to big up the high school coaches, the athletes, the college coaches, and the club coaches, because they're the ones who are out there working every day and producing these athletes. that medaled here. And if you notice that the medals that we got 10 medals, 2 were relays. They came from a variety of different areas people didn't expect.
Yeah.
But I would think, Coach Mincy, I never predicted this, but in studying it, because I wasn't in the prediction game, I think we could have gotten 16 medals.
Where would that 16 come from?
Okay, so you have 10 right now, right? Including the 2 relays. Let's say, would you not have expected a medal in the women's 100 hurdles?
Yeah, that's one.
Okay, maybe even 2. Okay.
Possibly.
Okay. And this one will hurt more than anything else. Pinnock, the long jumper.
But well, that is if he was with us.
Okay, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So let's count that as a medal. We can come back to that discussion, Coach Menzie. Let's say he was still representing Jamaica, which we could get into that. So we lost Pinnock and we lost a medal there. Okay. Stoner.
Yeah.
Okay. 4x1 men. Okay.
That's 14 already, you know.
Miss Ricketts had a day off.
Yeah, 15.
Okay. And I would think that we could have gotten a medal in the 4x4 men if 2 of our guys weren't sick.
Oh, so you reached 16 for sure. You reached 16.
And we probably could have gotten even a little better on if we had a little luck on some things. So am I unrealistic with those 16?
Nah, because my medal prediction was what, 8, and that was my worst case scenario, you know. That was my worst case scenario.
Oh, wait a minute. One more, Coach. One more. I thought that Sharika Jackson could have gotten a medal in the 100.
Okay.
So that's 17, right?
As people would say, your chest seem high though.
No, but I mean, come on, Coach. Seriously, I mean, as consistently as Mrs. Ricketts has been, I mean, this is the first time I think she had an off championship, and she's normally good for a medal.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I think there's some technical mistakes were made when I was watching it and listening to the discussion that the coach was having with her. I think there were some technical mistakes that were made. But I mean, a part of the game, especially as a coach, that's why the coaches always have to in at the lab try work with try sort out things. You understand? So
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So people, do you agree with Cubie's 17 medals that I think he on my best case scenario, it would have been somewhere around about 14 thereabouts. So yeah, I think you're pretty close. You probably have a better knock of it than me, because you have been in the game a long while. You understand? So
no, but I mean, Coach, I mean, you've been watching the team and I would think, I mean, I think I'm realistic in what I'm saying. I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I wouldn't have thought that we wouldn't have gotten a medal in the women's 100 hurdle. Would you? I thought we could get 2 medals in the women's 100 hurdle.
Yeah. We really did look for 2.
Hey,
yeah.
And don't forget, Coach, we didn't even have bra belt there.
True.
See what I'm saying?
So,
See what I'm saying? But but those 2 guys, they picked up the slack.
Yeah.
Bennett and Tyler Mason.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so you spoke about some of the athletes that you represent, and the latest one. Whenever you go about, seeking athletes in terms of athletes representation, what sort of qualities do you look for in those athletes? Because I think that might play a role in your decision in representing athletes. So
let me be clear, Coach. I don't recruit athletes. They sort me out, and I can talk to an athlete in 5 minutes, and I can tell whether we can get along.
And that comes with the experience, I guess.
Yes. Yes. I try to raise my athletes to be good citizens. I try to raise them to have respect for themselves and for other people. I try to teach them to be respectful of the craft that they're doing, their training, their I don't believe in athletes who want me to put them in meets because they're chasing money and that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. I bring my athletes along in one of the biggest knacks on me is that my athletes make a lot of money. Yes, they do.
Mm.
But I'm evolving in that thinking now, coach. I'm beginning to evolve in that thinking. I've evolved a lot in the last couple of years, to be honest, Coach Menzie,
Mm-hmm.
in my thinking, because and I'm drawing from my experience with Coach Mills, with Coach Wilson, with talking to Stephen Francis and those people in the culture of the everyday dealing with athletes. I
Mm-hmm.
think, and I'm caught in a conflict because as a manager, I'm supposed to represent my client and get them the best deals,
Mm-hmm.
which I do. But then, Coach Menzies, some of these athletes get so wealthy and they get complacent.
Oh.
And I think one of the things that in discussion with Coach Francis, he always tells me, you make them too rich too soon, QB. You don't make them hungry enough.
Oh. Okay.
You
But
know,
mhm. Yeah, keep going
and
if you want
and
to.
but I like them to have pride in themselves and
Mm-hmm.
the way they carry themselves. I like them to study, do great interviews. I mean, even when they lose a race, they should smile and they should be accommodating to the media. A lot of our athletes don't get endorsements because why, Coach Vinci? They don't play the game. They
Mm.
don't give good interviews. They're hostile towards the media. Some of them don't try to even speak properly.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I'm critical of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, I'll be brutal in this interview, and people will say, I'm brutal, but it's the truth. It's the
Yeah,
truth.
and you as a communication major too, of course you're going to want to see something like that, you know?
Think about this, and I don't want to name names,
Mm-hmm.
but Jamaica have a couple athletes that are so charismatic that people just love them regardless. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's other people who just they don't even want to talk to.
Yeah, that's true.
You
That that
know,
that that is so true. So I'm just gonna segue in a question, but before I ask that question, so for me, like, who probably has aspiration to become a an athlete manager, what do I look for if an athlete come to me? Because you have experience in it. You say you just have a 5 minutes conversation with them, then you know you're sold or you're not sold. What do I look for? And you don't have to tell if you don't want to, but I'm still interested in knowing what, and I think the audience might be in what you look for in an athlete. Is it that type of personality that you talk about? Is it that type of interview friendly person you're talking about?
well, sometimes it's not always the best athletes that the fastest or the most dominant athletes that make it. Coach Menzie.
Mm,
There are many of them that fail or fall on the side. Um, but if you have an athlete that has the mentality to work hard, want to be something, want to really uplift their family and uplift themselves, their work ethic is um, that you can align yourself with. Those are the athletes that really make it. The ones that are the quote unquote superstars that make the big money. They end up buying the cars and this and that and the women and then they end up not taking care of what got them there.
mm-hmm.
And there's quite a few of them out there right now that and a lot of it, Coach Menzie, is bad advice. You ever
Okay.
notice, Coach Menzie, that people that never did anything don't have anything but know everything?
Yeah, you have some folks like that.
And these are the people that get into these young adults' ears and they're telling this and telling them that with no experience, and they take them off of that path that is towards success.
Yeah, definitely. But back to the interviews, because you made mention of the interviews and some are friendly, some are not. What are your thoughts on the Jamaican athletes? Do you believe that they lack the finesse in terms of marketability, marketing themselves? Because the Jamaican athletes, them kind of shy when it comes on to the media. They don't want to face the media. You think that is a deterrent to, propelling them to even being bigger than they are?
Yes. I think, in the high school programs, they're so focused on winning that they're not focused so much on making sure that they get a grounded and rounded education and in dealing with themselves. Education is the key to it, Coach Minzy. I'm a manager because I took my education very seriously.
Mm.
And I said to my client, when I interview clients, I said, anything that you can do now, you can do when you're 30 and 40. But you only have a career span of so long to do these things. And you have a career span of that. So handle your business right now. You can do all the partying when you're 30. You can chase all whatever you want to chase now, but you have a gift, and you should try to maximize it to the most that you can maximize it.
Mm. So you're basically saying that these athletes need to take in their education and stop just focusing on running, because whatever the talent is, it will be unearthed, but you need to focus on the education aspect. That's what you're telling these athletes.
Well, you have to have something to fall back on, coach.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't make it,
believe.
if you don't make it, I mean, everybody wants to be a pro, coach, but not everybody can be a pro. When an athlete comes to me, I first of all, I have to analyze their talent. Then I analyze, does this athlete, does he want to go to school? If he wants to go to school, I say go to school. Go to a junior college, go to a 4-year college, because I think they need that experience, coach. A lot of high school kids that are jumping to the pro level cannot handle it, coach.
Mm.
They cannot handle it, and they're being misled by people. Anybody that can go to school, I say to you, go to school. Go to a 2-year college, a 4-year college. Get out to Jamaica, see the world, understand the world, and then if you're good, the college is going to take you to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go to pro. But everybody wants to turn to pro right now, coach, because for financial reasons, for economical reasons, they want to do it, to help their family, to help whatever to do. And yeah, but all of them are not going to make it. And if they don't have something to fall back on, coach, what's going to happen?
Yeah, but some of these athletes are persons who are probably whispering in their ears. Will tell you
exactly, coach.
No, but these people will tell them that going to college is a big risk too in terms of their athletic prowess and career, because we know what transpired in the NCAA system. You have to ensure that you're healthy to run. You have to be putting in the work. So how do they navigate such a decision? I believe in the school thing too, but how does an athlete navigate that decision? What role do you play in that?
Well, I played a role, and they can tell you, a lot of them will tell you, I dissuade a lot of them from going pro. I persuade a lot of them to go to college. And I take the blunt from coaches who says, I should leave them alone. I shouldn't, advocate that. But I know too many that have fallen by the wayside, Coach Minzy, and don't have anything to fall back on. So what are you going to do? Get a job in a fast food restaurant or something? This is the truth, Coach Minzy. It's the truth.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes the fans are the same ones that are going to be looking
exactly.
down at them.
And you know what, Coach? They're going to blame the manager. They're going to say, oh, QB should have took care of them. What did he do with their money? Did he not teach them how to do that? And like I said, Coach, in the last 2 years, I have evolved. I insist now, and my young clients can tell you, they have to put away such a percentage of their money right now.
Oh,
it goes directly to the bank from me, not even to their hands. Wow. Else I don't want to deal with them, because I've had a few of them that just squander their money. And you can talk to my young clients now, they will tell you, QB insists that a certain amount of money agreed upon goes straight to the bank. I can't even touch it, Coach.
But that is good. That is good, because you're looking out for the future of these athletes.
Exactly. And that comes with experience, coach, because I make the same sacrifices in my life, coach. I have made them. And I continue to make them. I continue to make them. And people always say, "Oh, that coolie boy, they're born with money." No, coach, I didn't have no money. I was born in Guyana.
But
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 but my loyalty to Jamaica is because of that one Jamaican athlete that changed my life.
who is that
And
Jamaican athlete?
I just told you, Richard Hardware.
Richard Arder. Okay. But as you talk about that too, QB, I've heard rumors, that you help mash up Johan Blake,
Really?
Cause
Oh, really?
you're all about the money, So when you are telling me these things, it kind of strange.
All right. So let's talk about this, okay? Let's talk about this, so we can clear this all up. And I never have spoken about this before. Johan Blake is one of the most kindest athletes I have ever known in the world. I wear a watch that's worth $250,000 that Johan Blake gave me as a gift. Inscribed on the back that says, "To the best manager from the beast." Okay?
You want to tell us what I watch your name?
No, it's okay. It's okay. People don't know this, but Johan Blake is one of the kindest athletes I know. He gives a percentage of all his money to charity. He runs president of the foundation, two boys houses and a women's house, all funded by him. He's one of the kindest athletes I've ever met, notwithstanding all the other great ones you have in Jamaica. Okay, I have a great relationship with Johan. Even to this day, we speak whenever we see. We don't have any animosity against him. So I will tell you, in 2021, when Johan got hurt in the Olympics in Tokyo, he came back and he said to me he wanted to go to Europe and run. I said, "Johan, you can't go to Europe. Okay, you can't go to Europe. You said you're hurt. The media said you're hurt. If you remember, he didn't make the semifinals, coach, in 2021. Okay, I said, "You can't go to Europe." He said, "I want to go. I want to finish the season. Put me in some B and C races." I said, "And I'm not doing that. That's where we started. I'm not going back there." He said to me, "Well, I'll find somebody else to do it." And I wrote him a letter on August 24th, Coach Minzy, telling him I would not go backwards with him. He's too an athlete that with so many accolades. Why would you go back and run in B and C races at that level? And there's more to that story, but I won't embellish more about it. But he decided to go in another direction, and that was it. But to this day, Johan and I still have a good relationship. He's very, very wealthy. He's well off, and if you know this, Coach Minzy, Johan had a career-ending injury, and he was able to come back. And every year, if you look at his statistics, every year under Coach Mills, he became faster and faster and faster. Since 2019. 2019 was the last time he was coached by Coach Mills, and 2021 was the last time I managed him. And he progressed every year. Facts. There's no ifs, ands about it. That facts. And then I think he ran in 2022. I think he ran 9.85. But every year he was progressing under Coach Mills the way we wanted to bring him. And for the life of me, I don't know what sent him in that different direction. The people that were in his ears, and because he's so kind, people take his kindness for weakness.
So, where did they get this notion, though, that you are the one always ensuring that you're on there on the circuit when he's supposed to be resting?
Nope.
It does always a race.
When was that?
When he was with Coach Mills.
Not really. That's not true. Look, you can pull it up and look how many races he ran. He ran sparingly because he was making so much money per race. So that is nonsense. Whoever is saying that. They should pull up the statistics and look. The statistics don't lie, Coach Minzy. People talk off the top of their heads, but tell them to go on the Finnish website and pull up every year and look how many races he ran. We ran him sparingly. especially coming back from an injury. He was running in races when he was coming back from an injury, that we were going to Ireland and going to different places and running in the races nobody ever heard about, so he could be comfortable.
I think I'm happy that you're here to clear up that sort of rumor, because
Mhm.
I mean that's what I heard. And
Well, pull up the statistics and look at it, Coach Minzy. You're a stats guy.
and I hear you get a lot of flocking where Johan Blake is concerned, but I'm happy that you're able to clear that up, and we're going to check it out. We're going to check it out.
I'll take you further on another athlete, so that they can see that I'm very transparent.
Mm-hmm.
In 2017, Warren came to me and he said, "QB, I'm done after the World Championship. I'm done."
Yeah.
I said, "Warren, you can't make," and I was representing Warren. I said, "Warren, you can't make a decision like that so rationally, right?" So he went off, and then he came back and he ran in 2018. And then I was the one who Warren still wanted to leave, because Warren was always looking ahead. Warren is one of the few athletes that was looking forward in his career, Coach Mincy. Warren already had his future planned.
Yeah.
Warren knew what he wanted to do. When Warren was running, Warren was already planning his future, what he's doing right now. He's one of the most forward-thinking athletes I've ever known.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept him in the sport 2 years longer. You know why, Coach Mincy? Because he had a damn good contract.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you. I said, "Warren, man, you can't just walk away from this kind of money." And so I kept him maybe 2 years longer in the sport than he wanted to be, because he wanted to move on to the career he has right now, which is very, vibrant career,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll admit if I'm wrong about something. I wasn't wrong about Warren. I was just trying to make sure he was more comfortable. But with Johan, that's nonsense. Just pull up the stats and you'll see. People always say that.
All right, we'll delve into that more. In terms of, I'll do my own research, but I certainly believe you, because as Coach Wilson said, you're one of the most honest human being he has ever met. So I'm taking a word for it. You understand? And he said in the chat that I'm trying to draw you out. Coach Wilson said, "May I try to draw you out?" Anyways, let me leave that alone. What I want to know, though, QB, is that in terms of your business negotiation, how do you balance, maintaining that personal trust with your athlete whenever you're going to make those decisions? Like you mentioned, Warren, and there might be others.
Well, I work closely with the coaches, and that's why I say to you, with Johan, the coaches give me my walking orders. I will, and Coach Mills will tell you, Coach Wilson will tell you, and any of the other coaches will tell you, I work with them. Coach Mills prepare the athletes, Coach Wilson prepare that, and then they tell me they're ready to go. You can put them in the meets. And Coach Mills will say, "Hey," I said, "do you want 100, 200?" He says, "No, let them run. Just let them run." They give me the window to put them in. And trust me, Coach Mills or Coach Wilson will not allow me to abuse any athlete. That's nonsense. They will not allow me to abuse any athlete. That is nonsense, especially Coach Mills. There's always a planned window when he wants his athletes to race and when not to race. So that's that, and I'm glad you raised that question, because I'm glad to answer it, because that's nonsense.
Okay.
These are professional coaches. I mean, you think Coach Mills would allow me to take Johan, one of his best athletes, and just run him all over the track? Unlike what I see other people do, or even Coach Wilson, he will tell you. I mean, I communicate with them. I ask them, what they want. They tell me, and sometimes I agree, sometimes I disagree.
And it would have been sorry. It would have been similar to how you or were you involved in that process of getting Antonio Watson, Ashanti Moore, and certain meets, because we noticed some of those meets that they were on were low-key meet. It's one of those type of situation.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now think about that. Think about if I was running them to death or money. See, sometimes, coach, that's wisdom and experience.
Mm.
You understand? And I remember, I think you or some people were saying, "Oh, I wish Chris Taylor had gone to this meet." But here it is, coach. You
Yeah.
have to know the tracks that are fast. You have to know the tracks that your athlete can run and run relax. I mean, a perfect example is what happened with Ashante Moore and even with Antonio Watson. I knew we had to bring him along. And coach, every time, every one of those races were cleared by Coach Mills. Every one of those races. And when meet promoters were saying, well, why you want him to run in a B race or why you want him to run a slow heat? I said, because he's coming back from an injury. We're trying to get him more his confidence back and we're trying to get him in the way. When I took him to Memphis and I told the meet promoter I want him to run in the B meet, the guy said, but QB, this is Antonio Watson. And coach, I said, I'm not putting him in no A race where a high school boy, 16-year-old is running out of his mind for the 4 seconds. I'm going to
Yeah.
trash the world champion. And lo and behold, what happened? That high school boy ran 44 or something, I think it was, and trash up on the Americans, and they were so much hype. Can you imagine if I had put Watson in a race like that?
Yeah, yeah. We'd be on the channel talking about it.
Exactly. And then after that, coach, I took him to Europe. When he went to Europe, I ran him in an all-comers meet in London where he ran 4 to 6 seconds and everybody was beating up on him. What they didn't know, I took him there just to get his legs aired out. He ran in lane 8. We paid £10 to enter him in the meet. And he ran in 4 to 6 seconds. Then the next race he went and he ran what he ran in Sweden. He ran 45 21, I think it was. And then took him to Brussels where he ran 44.85. And I knew he was ready to go then.
So what happened at the games?
At the games, coach, I think I don't really know totally, and I would be just assuming. But the track, the warm-up track was like about 20-minute ride from the main stadium.
Yeah. That
And
seems to be madness.
and a lot of the athletes warmed up, and then when they get there, they had to wait, and all the hoopla, introductions, and all that stuff that was going on. I think basically, he was okay, and then I think he had some hip flexor problems, I'm told.
Oh,
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, you're right. Because I spoke to one of the medical persons who actually went to the meet, and they said that the hip flexor and the cramping was an issue for the athletes because of that ride after warm up to the stadium.
Right.
And that wasn't a good thing. So you pretty much confirm it as
Yeah,
well.
and he didn't want to stop in the race, so he just kind of went through the motions. Because had he stopped in the race, then it would say it's the same nonsense he's been doing all along. But he's been fighting injuries for the last 2 years. I mean, it's one of those things, man.
All right, and it segue me into this question, QB, about athletes and the contract that they sign. You're an experienced person. I think you can answer this question. So, if, for example, the athlete sign a 4-year deal with a shoe company, is by not saying too much, is there a situation or a scenario where every year it depends on what they do that contract is cut?
No, it depends on what you negotiate. It's all in negotiations. And I try to, like the young kids coming out of high school, if there's a kid coming out of high school that wants to be a pro, I try to negotiate a grace period of anyway from 2 to 3 years where there can be no reductions.
Oh.
And most of my kids will tell you that. And then after that, I think 3 years is a good window to see how you progress. And then after that, there's clauses. With contracts, I do 15%, 25%, 50% of a reduction. But then, coach, there's also rollovers. So it's not a one-way street.
Oh.
And when I do a contract, coach, you never really have to go back to the table, because anything you earn, if it's whether a medal or something, rolls into your base. And I've had people stole my template of contract negotiations, where I negotiate for accommodations for my athletes, education in every contract, coach. Every contract I negotiate education for the same things we're talking about. Taking
Yeah.
classes to speak better, taking classes to enhance yourself. I negotiate therapy. I negotiate coaching fees. None of that comes out of their pockets.
Mm.
Travel, I negotiate. I have a template, and some people have stole my template, who I will not name.
So like you have beef with some people, man.
Of course, they're. I told you I was going to speak my mind. They know who
Yeah.
they are. They know who they are.
So how did they get a hold of your template?
Because when an offer is made to a family, and I do the template for them, the parent or the athlete give it to somebody who comes and talks to them, and they see it and they take it to another company, another brand,
Oh.
and maybe they get a little more money, and that's who they sign with. I've had it done to me, coach. But you know what? God wears pajamas, but he don't sleep. So some of them, they're nowhere to be found.
Oh. So you have some unscrupulous persons in the business then.
A lot of unscrupulous persons. They're one of the biggest problems.
Mm.
And it's sad because, they take advantage of the young athletes and the parents who don't know any better, or, they're not versed in this kind of stuff. But I mean, teach his own, coach. There's a manager for every athlete and an athlete for every manager. There's a
Yeah,
coach
yeah.
for every athlete and an athlete for every coach. You know this.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's the way you coach an athlete, or the way an athlete, you get the best out of athletes.
Yes, certainly. Another question now. Why track and field contracts are so incognito, wanting of a better term, so secretive then. Let me use the term. Why a footballer contract can make, and you see the contractor go say, yo, them sign a baller for XYZ, 5 million to the club where him sign for, and all of
Mm-hmm.
these things. Why track and field contracts so secretive?
Coach, I don't know. Maybe it's a system. Maybe it's a system that doesn't allow that. But most contracts, coach, has a confidentiality clause in them.
Mm-hmm.
Most contracts do, where only maybe if you have to take it to a bank because you want to show you have income, or if you're looking for apartment or something and you have to show you have income. But you can't really release a contract, an athlete's contract, to any and everybody. Because banks want to know where you're getting all this money from, that you're not money laundering, or a landlord might want to know, or the agent, the realtor would want to know, how can you pay such and such a rent. So you have to be able to show them. But basically, most contracts have a confidentiality clause in them.
Okay, all right.
But most of the times, coach, when I do a contract, you don't have to go back to the table until the contract is up, unless it's really something special. In a case like Johan Blake, where after 2012, Adidas came to us and opened the contract and renegotiated with us a bigger deal for him. That happens.
Yeah, true. Somebody have a question.
But you have to give up something in return to, coach. So
Yeah?
you might have to give some more years on the contract or something. You don't get nothing for nothing.
Yeah. Cause the shoe sponsors want to earn too,
Yes,
So they're not,
yes,
yeah, for real. But I have a
yes.
question coming from the chat. Elaine, as an example, she signed a major contract before she got injured, and all that happened. How would that affect her contract? And I think that the way I asked the question to you before about if an athlete signed, I was leaning towards her, because oftentimes persons say that because she signed and she has not competed for some time, every year the contract cuts. That's why I asked that question. So you can just answer that one as well.
Well, I can't comment on that, and I can't comment on what is in her contract. For obvious reasons, I don't know what's in her contract. I can only say what's in the contracts I do. But I'm sure, some companies, the company I deal with, they're very warming to athletes. They understand athletes get hurt, and they're not always very rigid. That's one of the reasons I deal with the company I deal with, because they're not very rigid. They're willing to give the athlete the benefit of the doubt, where some companies, which will be nameless, are ruthless in the sense that they give you this money, but they want to take it back as fast as they can take it back.
Okay.
So without not knowing what's, with that contract, it would be unprofessional for me to, comment on that.
All right, no problem. All right, what are the key differences between representing a sprinter versus the field event athletes? Because that one can be very tricky. Tell us about that one.
Well, the sprinters, of course, make a lot of money. The sprinters and milers, middle distance runners, they make good money. The field event guys, you're at the mercy of the of the shoe company. You're lucky if you can get some free equipment, unless you're a pole vaulter like the Plantis, or you're excellent long jumper, triple jumper, that is out there that going to do stuff. But I can tell you, it's a rough road. It's a rough road for throwers and jumpers that are just like journey and that stuff. But the sprinters and the quarter milers and the middle distance runners, they make the money.
Okay.
The milers, especially,
People want to start tell the athletes under them peers, if you can't run fast now the 100 and 200, try the 400. Money in that too. All right,
Yep.
According to Cubie. All right, so Cubie, have you ever had conflict between your athlete and sponsor and federation?
Well, there's always conflicts with the federation, but not really. Coach, you're not going to believe this, and maybe Coach Wilson can speak on it to anybody. Once my athletes makes the national team, whether it's the U.S. team, whether it's the British team, whether it's the Jamaican team, I'm hands off. They're at the whim of the coaches and the management of that federation. That I believe in that sincerely. Now, however, if there's a situation that arises with my client and he or she calls me and says, "Hey, you need to deal with this for me," I do get involved. But normally, once you make that team and you put on that national uniform, I'm hands off. When the date comes, it's finished. I take over back. But
Okay.
I unless I'm asked by the federation, for instance, if one of my athletes are in Europe and they're going to go to the NACA championships, and I have to facilitate them getting from Europe to the NACA championships. But once they're physically on the team, under the team management, then it's up to them, to deal with that. Unless I'm asked, and I have been asked in a couple of instances to get involved with some behavior from management and stuff like that.
Okay, so you don't really meddle then once they're on.
No.
Okay.
And if anybody said that they would be being disingenuous. And Coach Wilson can tell you that too.
Okay. In terms of globalization, how has that impacted athlete representation?
Well, Coach, I don't have to tell you. There are not that many lanes anymore available for Americans, Jamaicans. Look no further than what's happening in Europe. Europe finally have some big stars.
Yeah.
And the Africans are coming. Well, they've arrived. Okay? So it's harder now for Americans and even Jamaicans to get lanes because they don't need them. They don't need them. Okay? And track and field has spread now. I mean, yes, of course, Jamaican sprinters. Yeah. Okay, but really, when you have a Felke Bowl, you have Ingebrigtsen, you have Voham. All these guys, they're big stars. That's who they want to see in Europe. They're fine. Look at the Swedes. All of a sudden, they have an 800-meter runner. They have a hurdler. Coach, these people, we'll be, we lose a lot of negotiating power. because you know, they're the ones who paying the money. The Europeans are paying the money, and they want to see their stars. And that's because we've allowed that to happen now. Just like in cricket, we allow everybody to steal our secrets. And now, where are we at in cricket? And where are all these other teams, coach? We're being beaten by Nepal and stuff like that. That's crazy.
Don't even talk about the cricket right now, cause so are you saying that Jamaica's track and field is declining or has
I,
declined?
I said that last year, and I still stand by it. Look, Coach Menzie, if we want to roll with the big ballers, and we're with the big ballers, okay? If we want to roll with U.S. track and field, Athletics Canada, UK Athletics, and some of the European things, our federation has to have a better culture. We have to have a better culture, and I keep saying we, Jamaica. We have to have a better culture. We're a powerhouse, but we're happy to settle for whatever medal counts you guys have on the medal table or anything. Can you imagine if we were run like a business, Coach Menzie? What would happen? We don't need any more sports administrators, Coach Menzie. We need business administrators, because track and field is a business. It's money. It's big money. And you look at all these other federations that are being run by, they're run by business people. They're run by people. These people have offices, Coach Menzie. Okay, they have offices. They're paid CEOs. They're paid presidents, and they run it like a business. We're still in some, I don't know, culture, and that tells you the strength of Jamaican athletics, that we can still survive under all of that.
So the people them that the persons in the J3s, they are not business persons. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Or some of them have served their time, and we need to give them the gold watch and say thank you very much. You know, you've done. You can be, what do you call them? You know, on the executives or something, the advice. But we need young blood, young people that are understanding the business, coach. Even me, I might be a little too old for that now. If I was 20, 40 years younger, maybe I would, you know, think about trying to get Jamaican citizenship and running the J3As, because I damn sure could bring the money.
So have you ever spoken to anybody there, the president, the GenSec, or anybody to try and, you know, lead them to that part that this Jamaica track and field needs something new?
Coach Menzie, I have always said those people are my friends. I've known some of them for 40 years. Okay, for 40 years or more. I talked to in Tokyo. I had some brief talks with Mr. Luddy Watts and Mr. Eatman, and they get me. But I think, you know, there's a lot of people who think they're entitled to stuff. You know, this entitlement stuff. I grew up seeing it in Guyana, and it's in the Caribbean. People think they're entitled. You know, and everything. The world has evolved, Coach Menzie. Look no further than what's happening in Jamaican football. They got a good sponsor. They're making money, and things are much better with the reggae boys and the reggae girls than they ever have been. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, and I tell you, you know, the reggae boys jersey them and the reggae girls jersey them.
All right, all right, Coach. Let me tell you.
Put something where I get the chat very uppity, you know.
All right, Coach. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
You think Adidas made us a foolish investment in the reggae boys?
No, I think
exactly.
I think it's one of the smartest moves, because the brand Jamaica alone,
exactly,
coupled with Adidas.
Okay, Coach Menzie. Coach Menzie,
a home run, not a hit.
Coach Menzie, do you know the majority of the people in Tokyo that were walking around in Jamaica colors, you know what they were wearing, Coach?
What?
Reggae boy jerseys. And you know every one of those jerseys they bought, the the Jamaican football and Adidas got a percentage of that money.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Just like
that is true. We know that.
Just like Manchester United and Liverpool and all that. People say, "Oh, why is Adidas signing Jamaica?" Merchandising, boss. Merchandising, business, pure business.
You know, I was speaking to someone today now where I said, track and field you don't have a kit where you could have said, all right, I'm gonna buy something to represent Jamaica track and field. But with the football, we can see that. So I'm wondering if Jamaica was with Adidas, if we could have probably get some Jamaican gear where we could
Coach,
actually,
coach,
have
couple
the
of
kit.
things.
Because
Coach,
me, I get excited, because throughout the whole Tokyo, Adidas kit me a fear where we have on JFF.
thank you very much.
None. And we are gonna get a Puma jersey unless we know somebody and somebody can squeeze a shirt or whatever. I saw a thing going on.
Coach, let me tell you this, okay? I had nothing to do with the Adidas offer that was made to the J3s. Had nothing to do with it. I wish I could take credit for it, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I have seen the offer. There was a 15% royalty in there to the J3s for kit that was Adidas was going to make and sell. Okay? And you don't think the Jamaican public would have bought a jersey for athletics?
Of course.
Now think about it. So why the present sponsor hasn't done any of that?
By the way, which one of the company you represent?
I don't represent no company. Let me make this clear to the followers and the public. It doesn't matter to me if Coach Menzie brand, Nike, Puma, Adidas, Reebok, Asics, Awning, whoever it is that wants to sign Jamaica. As long as the best deal out there, that's who I'm backing. But I can tell you, they don't have the best deal.
With the Puma, right?
I don't care, whoever it is right now.
Jesus, please.
And people know this, Coach. They know this.
But
and I'm saying to you, I've seen the same document you've seen, Coach. I know you have the document.
Yeah, because
I hear you spoke about it.
Yeah, I did. I spoke about it, and based on what I read, it seems as if to me it was a massive deal. And because I know about the football, a little bit about the football stuff, may I say I think that it would have been a hit. A matter of fact,
Coach,
not a hit, a home run where the team. What on the QB? You see the preview for the other countries that do Adidas.
Yeah.
When me look on it, me hold my head and say, Jesus, look how Jamaica gear would have looked so good.
Coach, first of all, like I said, I wish I could take credit for that proposal. They will never get another proposal like that. That was guaranteed solid for the next 8 years. Coach, all these people have to do is go look at the stock market. Look at the Adidas stock, look at the Nike stock, look at the Puma stock. It's business, Coach. Business. I just told you we need business administrators, not sports administrators. Okay.
And that is a perfect thing. Me just love the fact say you said business administrators in comparison to sports.
And don't think, Coach, don't think we don't have people like that in Jamaica. We do have people like that in Jamaica. Don't tell me we don't have. We have very clever and smart Jamaicans, business people in Jamaica, Coach. Business people. I talk to them whenever I need to talk to them. I know a lot of them, Coach. A lot of them. We have an abundance of business people in Jamaica. Don't think Jamaican people are poor. Jamaican people are very wealthy all over the world. Okay? So it's nonsense. President Ricketts said to the J3s, sign that deal. You remember? You remember Coach Menzie?
Right now I'm dumbstruck because let me take a sip. And it's not white rum or some water. me not drink rum.
I told you the conversation was going to get very interesting. Now, I'm telling you, I wish I could take credit for that proposal. Obviously, those people did their homework, Coach Menzie, because every category you could think of was taken care of. Coach, I did a thing. Well, let me have it here. Do you know that if we were under that contract, that the athletes stand to benefit 100 and hold on, Coach. I did a work on it. I think it was like $104,000 in bonus that would go to the athletes that won the medals via the J3S coach.
And when me hear athletes come out and having issues health wise, and they have to be talking about it in the public, and this would have helped them. Shem, my head hurt me. Shem, my head hurt me instantly. Now I drink more water.
So yeah, it was about 100. I went back and looked at that proposal, coach, and based on the 10 medals that Jamaica won, I think it was like $104,000. I don't even have the document that the athletes would have made that were going to be paid via the J3s to them. It didn't matter what brand they were wearing, coach.
More you send me the document there when you get the car. But
but you, coach.
See your phone turn. More you send me the document there because me need to make a comparison with you and see what is what. You understand? Apparently somebody I try call
Coach. Hold on. You hear me?
Stop call the man. Why you want to interrupt this conversation now?
Because people trying to.
Hold on.
Can you hear me, coach?
Yeah, man. Let me remove that one there. Yeah.
Yeah, because people trying to give me questions.
Them are trying to sabotage the whole thing, you know. No, stop it.
No, coach, you have the proposals that I think.
Yeah, man.
Because
I have the Adidas proposal.
And if
I want you send me the document where you said how much money they would have made.
No, but coach, it's in there. It's in there. It's in there, coach.
Yeah. That is in there for real.
I'm trying to find if I have something. But coach, okay. Let me. I want to segue into something else.
Go on, man. I hear you sure right now because I'm dumbstruck because the athlete there would have been benefiting from this thing.
Yes.
And I don't know what is happening.
And
is it in the name of loyalty?
Coach, I don't know. You have to. Oh, I found it, coach. It was with the 2 relay medals, $104,000. So
how
everybody that won an individual medal would have gotten a bonus.
So it doesn't matter which shoe sponsor you're with.
No.
You still get that. Yo.
No.
Oh my.
You can, Coach Menzie, you can double check it. Look it up. But let me segue into something, Coach Menzie. I know, but you can come back to this if you want to.
Yeah, man. Go on.
But I know it sounds like I'm beating up on the J3s. And I said last year that it was turning. Are you hearing me, Coach?
Yeah, man, we're hearing you.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I think some of the print. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to compliment the J3s on the management team that they sent to Tokyo. They weren't perfect, but it was a step in the right direction. I like the fact that for the first time, I think they had a female coach that traveled with it in his management. I think for the first time they had a safeguard official.
Yeah, because that is a new thing. That is a new thing now where sports is concerned. Safeguarding sports.
And it's going to become mandatory that everybody that is involved have to take that test and pass the certification.
I actually to be honest, I actually did that in my my safeguarding thing is going to be expired, and I have to renew it by doing a test too for real. So I know
Right.
that is the direction that they are going into right now.
Right. And that's going to be mandatory. So they had a technical safeguard official,
Mm-hmm.
but I just hope that they really understand what a safeguard official is. Okay? Because there were still some complaints. I like the fact that they had uh, in the management uh, Mr. Forbes and Mrs. Parks, who really worked hard and they were always accessible. Um, the I think there were some issues with some of the coaching staff, but overall, I thought it was a good step in the right direction. We might not have agreed on who we wanted to be there,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they went in the right direction. Right direction. I was tired of seeing the same people going on trips,
Okay.
and I think that was good. Now, the other thing I want to tell you, Coach, and I think Coach Wilson spoke about this, is that we need to transition some new coaches
Mm-hmm.
into the staff, and don't tell me that they're not good coaches in Jamaica that can transition. We have very strong coaches, we have very patriotic coaches, and we have non-partisan coaches. Coaches who go there and just want to win. I mean, just think about this. Your followers and the people listening, we all want to win, Coach Menzie. We all want to win. The people in halfway tree want to watch TV and they want to see us winning.
Yep.
We need to send people on these trips that are not partisan. That's where a lot of your problems are coming. I would suggest
You
that
mean
you
the
don't send
coaches? You mean coaches are administrators?
coaches.
Mm.
I would suggest you don't send coaches that have X amount of athletes on a team.
So you
They
want
can be
independent?
personal coaches,
Okay.
but as long as you have coaches going that have X amount of athletes a team, you're gonna have the tendency or the how do you say that there will be some kind of favoritism.
So there's gonna be some sort of inclination to have preference, so to speak.
Right. Perfectly
Mm.
said. And they are good coaches. They're coaches that can work hard, would work hard, coach.
But they,
And
but QB, they'll tell you that some of these coaches that you might be saying that coaches that work hard, they are not I would say experienced enough
so how they gonna
be
get the
there.
experience, coach?
I would say the same thing, but I'm just trying to look through the lens of
Coach,
what they would be saying.
we
You
have
get what I'm saying?
coaches. We have certified coaches that can get a trip. And we have
Mm-hmm.
coaches going on trips that aren't at the level of some other coaches. It becomes like a friend business.
So you're inciting some sort of conflict of interest then, where that is concerned.
I would say that there are some.
But all right, so we know the coaches that went. Who are some recommendations that you'd make?
I would say, okay, let's start with field events.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what about Coach Ford at Immaculate?
Coach Ford at Immaculate. And here how I'd counter that. Has Ford gotten any junior trips before?
I don't know, to be honest.
Right. So they probably would say, what can a high school coach tell my coach or tell my athlete who I am coaching as a world coach, a senior coach. And I've heard that a lot. Sometimes the high school coaches like myself, we don't get a lot of respect
But
because we are seen as just amateur coaches. We are not professional coaches.
but coach, I'm not saying that their coaches can't go as a as a personal coach,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm saying the staff
Oh, you
of,
mean right? I get what you're saying now.
yeah, and if you don't start giving these coaches trips, how all of a sudden we're gonna end up like we did when Coach Mills said he wasn't going anymore as head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Frano said that. DJ said that. All these coaches that we looked up so much. Coach Clark, um, that they all went, and then we had nobody. So how are you gonna bring them into the fold?
I get what you're saying, but like I said, I'm being the advocate here to rebut what the probably the federation persons would be saying
Look,
if the reasons why they wouldn't take those persons.
I'll speak out the turn here. Um, Coach Menzie, I'm very good friends with Coach Wilson,
Mm-hmm.
and I've tried on many occasions to persuade him from going as a technical director. I would prefer him go and just coach his athletes as a personal coach. Then you have none of this nonsense that he's biased, that he's that he's accused of, and not even be technical director. But who would you put as a technical director right now?
That's what I would ask you, because when you look at it, I know of Coach Wilson having a PhD in track and field.
Exactly.
And that is the highest, the level 5 that he has.
Yes.
You understand? So, there are a few other coaches on the island who actually have a level 5,
Yes.
But are these persons rigorously involved in track and field? Not many of them.
But they're not invited to be. Do you have to be vigorously involved?
But
Wait,
I agree with that. But
Coach.
I believe, Cubie, that these folks, they're thinking, and because you're a businessman, you have that thinking. So I'm trying to think like them. They believe that you have to be actively involved in the game.
And that's where they're wrong. Okay, so let me give you an example. What is Jerry Hollis doing in India?
Teach them the game.
Thank you. And he's a 5 level.
Mm-hmm.
And how many people have Jerry Hollis produced?
Several.
Thank you. And you have to almost beg them to give him a spot on a team. You know how many? When I was friends with the J3As, you know how many people I begged for to get on a team?
Hold on. So yeah, the J3 is about a friend. And that's why you always bash them.
No, I call them out.
You just speak the truth then?
I just speak the truth. Then I just compliment them.
Yeah, you did.
Exactly. I just complimented them. But in order to make anybody a better person, you got to be able to take criticism.
That is true.
I took criticism from you just now when you told me about Blake, and I defended myself.
Yeah.
But I'm saying to you, India now has 3 of our best coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I can tell you that a few other countries have approached me to get our coaches to come to work in their countries.
So people are not only recruiting athletes, they're recruiting coaches from Jamaica.
And I'll tell you something else. I'll break some news to you on your show. It's not only Turkey that is recruiting Jamaican athletes, and the people that are recruiting them and not recruiting them with money. They're recruiting them because they can give them a better opportunity. Pay attention.
What are those opportunities?
Better funding to compete for them, not giving them 500,000 to come compete. And it's one of the things that I've had to revolve in my thinking, Coach Mincy, because I look at it as, if you're a Jamaican, you'll always be a Jamaican. It'll be in your heart. So you temporarily go and you compete for England. When Jermaine Mason went to England, I did that transfer. He asked me to do it. Okay, and he competed for England, but he was always in Jamaica. He died in Jamaica.
So let me
You
ask you.
remember?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, set up yourself now, because if
No,
you
I'm not
say
saying myself.
if you say you transfer Jermaine Mason, you have a few Jamaican at least. Is there any your Jamaican charges that are in the process of leaving? Because we hear several athletes might leave soon,
No, none of mine.
None of you. Okay.
But don't forget, Jermaine Mason had one of his parents was English,
Yeah. I remember that.
and we have several Jamaicans that ran for the U.S. But I'm saying those opportunities are being presented now. I know that because I have other colleagues, other Jamaican athletes that are being approached.
So where do you actually put that sort of blame in terms of these people who is it on the J3? Is it on the coaches? Is it on remuneration? What is the real reasons why some
Well,
of these, because
it's policies, it's programs. You had the athletes that are now going to Turkey. Did they not tell you their reasons? Okay, so why ask me the question?
because if coaches are also in the mix, then it if you're probably right, it's a redundant question for you.
Exactly, because coaches are looking for, they have to make a living for the family. But I see the coaches as a different entity than the athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's no different than are you hearing me, Coach?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
It's no different than a person playing soccer for Liverpool or one of the teams that is a Jamaican. That's how I look at it.
Wow.
You understand? I mean, they'll always be Jamaican, but there are a lot of people who were playing. I think we had a couple played for England at one time, right? Am I right? You're a soccer guy, a football guy.
Yeah, man.
So I look at I have to evolve in that thinking, Coach. I have to come into the real world, because this is what's happening. And these kids are telling you this, Coach. So unless you put policies in place and some kind of structure, and like I said, come into the culture like US Track and Field, UK Athletics, Athletics Canada, Ireland, the Europeans, the Germans, even the Africans, Coach, we're going to be left behind, and we're being left behind, and we're going to take licks all the time.
So
what is saving us? Remember what I said. What is saving us is our high school coaches, our college coaches, our club coaches, and our talent, the athletes. That is what's saving us.
Because if policies are not in place and we're still performing, then it obviously can't be the policymakers. It has to be those variables, the coaches, the athletes, from whatever level they are. So
exactly.
It is just, how can we, what?
Coach, don't ask me that question, because you know the answer. You know the answer. It's the culture. It's the culture, Coach.
We have a bad culture then, and if these coaches decide to go to these different areas that they're being coerced to go, then as long as the coaches are going to be leaving, then the product is going to be in problems.
Thank you. And do you see any remedy in the near future? It looks like I'm interviewing you now, coach.
Yeah, interview me now, and I'm lost for words because I
That's my
don't see any.
communication degree. That's my communication degree.
It is a reality check that we really have to. I believe that the policy makers, and when we used to talk about the football, I see these are the same things that occur because the and you say a perfect word that does resonate with me. I used to lament about sports administration in the Caribbean, that is a big issue. But
Right.
now you have rearranged my thoughts, and the paradigm has now shifted from just the sports administrator to management, sports managers, because
Exactly.
it's a business.
Coach,
So
look at the
I'm
people.
learning a whole lot from this interview myself.
Look what is happening in US track and field. Look what is happening in Athletics Canada. Look what is happening in UK athletics. You think there are any sport that, yeah, they have some kind of sports background, but these is
Yeah.
business people. And no sooner that they can't step up, they get rid of them. Look how many head of UK athletics they've changed.
I mean, you see our policies thing set up, how
And
these
coach,
persons
coach,
are
coach, coach, coach,
elected.
coach. I mean, you keep saying, people keep saying I'm bashing people. I want to win, coach. Every one of your followers, every one of people looking at this interview, like a winner. They want to win. But until the membership and the athletes do something about it, it ain't gonna happen. So they're content with 10 medals or 8 medals or whatever when we can deliver maybe 16 and be in the rail hunt. We're content
Yeah.
to be number 3 or number 4 and get one
Mm.
gold medal.
But you see, there's something that the football federation did, because I used to sit on in the COVID-19, sit on this very channel. I might change the chair, right? And I upgrade the system, get a different mic and all of that. But I used to lament the same thing where the football administration is concerned. I would talk things that they need to do, and then but everybody afraid of coach's desk. And my intention is to get the thing better.
Well,
The-
coach, that's why I came on. And I
the-
told you, I said to you, no question is off limits.
we have
You know something, coach. I grew
uh-huh.
up in Guyana seeing cricket, lovely cricket.
Mm-hmm.
I used to enjoy cricket, going to cricket. Those were the days when your followers can't even remember the Garfield Sobers, the Rohan Kanhais, the Butchers, the Nurses, the Murrays. I can go on and on. That's when the West Indies dominated, and we allow England and Australia and
Australia,
all these
New
people
Zealand.
steal our
Yeah.
coaches, steal our cricketers, and where are we now? Exactly where track and field is heading,
Because
and
when you
and and because of our football federation is pulling their boots up, and they're dealing with it like a business. They
and
have
you're rightfully saying that, because what we saw through our several hours talking on this very program, we talk about the new things that they need to do. And you know what the JFF did? They got one of the very best in the game, an astute businessman,
right,
Dennis Chung,
right.
and he became the
Hate
Gen
him, hate
Tech.
him, or hate him or like him.
Yeah,
He's a businessman.
and the man come in and the man give them some tax thing, put them on it, the map, get them off of the FIFA ban and all of them something there. And JFF seems to be in a better place
Much better place.
than
And
where it was.
coach, and this is the best time for football in Jamaica. If they can't make the World Cup out of this bracket, they're never making it. And lo and behold, if they make the World Cup, everything goes crazy.
No man,
Everything goes.
we are met the World Cup, man. Don't worry about
No, okay. Well, I'm
it.
just saying,
I'm
but
confident of that.
but what I'm saying, coach. I mean, I'm people think I bash the J Trays, but I like being a winner, coach. Who doesn't like being a winner? Who doesn't?
A
You
loser.
want to tell me the man in the street don't want to be a winner? You
Of,
telling me that you don't want to be a winner?
of course I'm a winner.
What
That want to
what
be.
I'm not reading your comments. What are your comments saying? What are your people saying?
I mean, everybody said, let me check out some of the comment. In the US, you lose your job. In Jamaica, it is my job when you don't perform. Somebody said that. Make the change and replace Mr. Falstart and his cohorts. I guess. And somebody is saying again, there's no accountability when things go wrong.
True.
3 blind mice needs to retire. Even in the 90s, WE dominated. I don't know what WE is. Somebody said, Coach, this man is Guyanese. Jamaica been winning and we won't stop. Let us get to solutions. Beer back, of course, we're getting to solution. But you see, that mindset now gonna help, you know. And
Coach, coach,
as Cubie said, we are content with 10 medals. And the
coach,
man who you said is a Guyanese came and said he was looking at 17 medals.
coach. I'm more Jamaican than I'm Guyanese. I left Guyana when I was 16 years old. And they sent for me in about 2 months ago to help them restructure. And I hadn't been back since 1997. You know why? Because of politics. And then finally somebody took over as president of the Federation in Guyana and called me and says, how can you help us? You've done so much in Jamaica. And I went there a couple months ago, Coach Minzy, I think it was in February, and got them a contract with Adidas, the federation, and started to show them how to restructure and start to build. And now they have 5 juniors that are really going to be the future in Guyana. And Guyana have money. They can employ coaches. Think about it, coach.
And so it segue back into the decision with the contract, right? Or which shoe sponsor they should have taken. But somebody said if it was athlete centric, why we have not heard the athletes spoke about it in the public?
Because athletes never speak about anything. They just worry about today. They don't worry about tomorrow. I mean, Michael Johnson was a big athlete and he never did anything when he was an athlete. Now he's trying to do something after the fact. Carl Lewis was the same thing. Carl Lewis was, they're all about themselves until it's their son or their daughter that has to now compete. Then, you know, they lose that strength as an athlete. Why do you think Muhammad Ali was such a great athlete? Because he stood up when he was in his prime and said enough is enough. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why you say it like that, coach?
Yeah, man. No, I pretty much testing the mic. Somebody said my mic low, but
No, your mic loud.
This mic is. You see, if I turn my face away from it, you will hear it a different sound. If they're right here, you hear it more.
Coach, what people don't understand, they need to, like I said, know their history. Know their history. When I hear people talk about, oh, this is Puma country and this and that, they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Tell us about that. This Puma country.
Listen,
versus the right country.
In 20 I think it was 2002 when Puma signed Adidas. When Jamaica signed with Puma, Adidas had more money in the table. I was involved in that negotiations. And there's about 3 or 4 people who's still alive that can tell you about that. Most of them, are gone now. That's when Pops was president of the J3As.
Who is Pops again?
Pops Anderson, Mr. Anderson.
Oh, Pat Anderson. Okay.
Yeah, Pat Anderson. We call him Pops.
Oh, that's why I didn't recognize it.
And Mr. McCook is gone. Mr. Ayres is gone. Mr. Wallace is gone. See, that's history. People don't know their history. So when they talk that nonsense, I just cringe because they have no knowledge of what they're talking about. And let me say this, Coach Mincy, I think it was 2012. The reason I think, this is just me thinking, Coach Mincy, the reason I think that Adidas leaked this proposal that they made was because I think in 2012 they made a similar proposal and it was ducked then.
Oh.
So we not only lost 8 years of money, that kind of money, but now we're losing this kind of money. And I hear people go on TV and says, "Oh, they're gonna sue people for saying this and suing people for that." I said, "Bring it,
So them
sue."
so but me talk about it, so them assume it too.
But no, 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 not about this contract. About what
Oh,
happened.
oh.
Because remember, when you sue people, coach, you have to have deposition and you have to have discovery.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to run your mouth off and say sue and do all this stuff, but you better have the receipts to back it up when you were in meetings and you know this and you say these meetings never took place.
Okay. But it is interesting though, QB, because
Coach, let me tell you this. Every
uh-huh.
time the J Trays open their mouth, they say to you they don't have money, they don't have this, they can't
Yeah,
afford
yeah,
it.
yeah.
You think about that, okay? So why you don't have money? So look, you had alternates for Tokyo. Where were the alternates, coach?
Because they have the money.
Exactly. If you have alternates, what the hell they doing in Jamaica? And you're a 15, 16 hour flight away. So how are the alternates going to get there?
When I was reading out the list, I saw that as madness. And we had a
Yes.
conversation because
Think
it don't
about
make,
that.
it
Think
don't make
about
no
that.
sense.
Think about that, coach. Alternates. Every time you open, you don't have money. You don't have money.
So
So
we
why
so
haven't that?
what kind of contract them have then?
I don't know. I don't know. You need
But
to
you
find
see,
that out.
these people are several, and I applaud you for coming on this show now, because several people think this is a very hostile place. I don't know where they think and where they get that this space is a hostile space, and they are afraid to come on and talk because, like I said, the track fans are very knowledgeable. So you cannot come on here and talk any gibberish. They might
Exactly.
call you out. So I'm
And
wondering if that is the case.
and anything I say, I can back it up. Coach, what I do, other managers can do in Jamaica, they chose not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They chose not to help the high schools. They chose not to help the clubs. I mean, every time I go to Adidas or I see Adidas, they always say, "Oh, here comes QB, cap in hand," always asking for help for another school or for something else for another athlete or something. But the other managers can do it. They have the same avenue, whether it's the Puma, Nike, whoever. They chose not to do it. So when somebody said to me, "I'm a Guyanese," I'm more Jamaican than I'm a Guyanese. Ask them how the high school program in Jamaica survived. Who started the first with the uniforms and everything for the high school, coach?
Uh,
Ask them who created prize money in the sport. Me.
tell us about give us the little history on them, you know.
The
I
first
me
school
never
that
know.
the first school that ever had textiles, clothing was Homewood. You know who we signed them with?
Mm-hmm.
Nike. And we went to Adidas first, and Adidas said no. And I went to Nike, and Nike signed Homewood. Okay? And that is why, because of that mistake, they signed GC Foster, because when Coach Wilson was on top of his game with Homewood, I went to them. Coach Wilson, ever tell you how I met him? At Penn Relays, I walk up to him and I said, "Coach, I'm going to help you." That's when his girls were wearing all the colorful hair and all the
Mm-hmm.
fancy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they had generic uniforms. And I walked
Oh,
up to him and I said, "Coach, I'm going to help you." And he looked at me like, "Who's this crazy dude?"
yeah.
And then I went to Adidas and Adidas said no. And then I went to Nike and Nike said, I sold Nike on Homewood. And I went on to do, they don't like to admit it, but Mr. Ayres had me do Kingston College with Nike.
Yeah,
And
they
I
had
did,
Nike.
exactly. See, people don't know the history. And so they say, "Oh, I'm Adidas, Adidas." And then because of that whole guilt thing, Adidas signed GC Foster. Okay.
Mm.
And then I helped with Edwin Allen. I helped with Calabar until it switched to Puma. With Adidas, I helped all of them. It doesn't matter to me, Coach Mills. Anybody can come to me and talk to me, but the reason they don't come to me is because when you come to me, you better come seriously and talk to me. Don't come with no jive discussion, because I'm not going to sell out my athletes and I'm not going to sell out the country.
So it this man that said that you're a Guyanese, but you have done so much work
Thank you.
in Jamaica, because several of these youngsters probably didn't even know that you're the person who ensure that these things happen.
They forgot the days, Coach, when people used to run relays and take off the spike and give it to the next person to run in. Now that we have so many spikes in Jamaica of all brands, it's crazy. If anybody doubts it, I heard that people walk around in Jamaica said I never worked for Puma either. They say that.
But I never hear that, so I can't talk on that. I spoke on the Johan Blake thing when I asked you about. You understand? But in terms of the payment in track and field, tell us a little about that.
What in what aspect?
You said you were the one who introduced that.
Okay, you remember the days when we would get for the World Championships? I think it was a Mercedes, a watch, and a diamond, or something like that. Well, myself, along with about 5 other managers, had a meeting with Nebbiolo. And that's when we discussed and we pressured, to bring prize money into the sport, into world athletics and everything, and then go legal. People don't know that stuff. I was somewhere in Jamaica and somebody said to me, "Boy, QB, you make a lot of money for your athletes, and I said, "Yeah, I try my best." They said, No. Wait a minute. You didn't get what I said. I said, "You've made a lot of people wealthy in this world." I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "But you were one of the guys that fought for prize money for us."
Wow.
And I never even thought about it that way, Coach. I never thought about it that way. But I've been at it since 1972.
So you'd have been through the dark days, the cold days, and all of the sort of days, and now they're the good days.
And yes, and I can tell you stories. I mean, I've been through it with Coach Mills when he started Racers. I was there with him when we had 5 athletes. People have no idea. You remember? Don't forget, I worked with MVP till 2006.
Because
people don't remember that.
That was the question I was gonna ask, because persons was wanting to know if you used to manage any MVP athletes.
I managed Asafa Powell and Bridget Foster and all of them. I was the first real international manager with Frano until 2006.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have been there, man.
Yeah. That people just don't know that, and that's why I decided to give them the historic, about it, because sometimes I listen to your show, or sometimes I listen to the show and I hear the people talk, and I don't want to say they're talking nonsense. They just don't have their facts right.
Wow.
So sometimes I want to reach into the TV or into the podcast and grab them, because they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about, and it upsets me. But hey, I've mellowed. Like I said, I've evolved in the last 2 years, but I've mellowed. I've had to think the way Frano thinks. I've always think that the guru thinks. I have to think like Coach Mills, like Coach Wilson thinks. I have to think like O'Keel Stewart thinks. All the coaches, I draw from all of their experiences, and we sit and talk, and I can tell you, I mean, I have some really good discussions with Stephen Francis, really good discussions. And I have really good discussions with Coach Mills. You can't win a discussion with Coach Mills. You got to be able to argue on both sides of the argument. And you're never going to win. You have to just leave it. Same thing with Stephen Francis. But Stephen Francis will concede to you if, you make a point with him. He'll tell you, yes, okay. But these are brilliant men.
So, why haven't you managed any athletes from MVP in recent times?
Because they have their own structure now.
Okay.
I mean, they have their own trust in their own people, and there's nothing wrong with that. They have their own staff, their own management. It's the same thing. It's no different with races or with Sprint Tech or any of the other clubs. They trust who they work with. And that's why it comes back to people saying that, I race Johan too much and all this nonsense. You think Coach Mills would have allowed his world champion or his Olympic medal winner to do that? Come on, man, that's nonsense. I mean, and I refute. They need to go and look at the schedule, or print off go on the Finnish website and print off all the years Johan run and see how many times he ran. It's nonsense. I mean, these coaches are strategic coaches. They know everything, how they plan to race their athletes, how to pick them, how to train them. These guys are at the top of the field of what they do. They're not no licky coaches that are winging it.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
so that
They're
that's
top coaches
nonsense.
for real.
But they're top. They're not top. They're top in the world.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You
I,
know, you think about it.
well, I don't have to think about it. Their work speaks for themselves.
Thank
It's
you.
clear to see. You understand?
Thank you.
Um, how can we save Jamaica's track and field? And
Only the athletes in the membership can do that. And people with good conscience say enough is enough. Let me step down. Let me say this to you, Coach Menzi. Why is it that the JOA is a much better organization? And I hate to say that, but they are a better organization. Why is it? Answer that question.
I don't know.
Why do they have money? Why do they have people, thinking people?
Is it that they have more persons who are business persons there?
Thank you. Thank you.
So how
Look at the structure of the of the JOA, whether or not you like them or not. People can have their own opinions, but they are business people. They have money.
some
They
my,
they have
my
sponsorships.
yeah, that is true. So
Why is
boy,
it that the Jamaican bobsled team have so many sponsors, including foreigners?
and it is not a big, it is not one of the
Thank you,
biggest. Yo, it is not
boss.
one of the
I'm
biggest sports
I,
in Jamaica.
I'm giving you the receipts. I'm giving you the receipts. You know what corporate Jamaica said to me, and I have dinner with some of these people, and I've dealt with them in discussions for racers Grand Prix. They
Mm-hmm.
don't trust. They don't trust the J3As. They tell you straight up.
Mm-mm.
They don't, and this is true. I mean, I know some of these guys that owns these companies. I have dinners with them. I hang out with them sometimes. You know,
So if the J3s are listening, what advice you'd have given them now so that they can better suit the track and field, the fans, the athletes are taken care of? What do they need to do? I hear you mention that persons can do the honorable thing and leave, but give us a wholesome.
you have to have structures. You have to have policies. You have to have transparency. You have to have professional people that are there. You know, I mean, they're good people. They're good people. It's just that the sport has passed them by.
It has passed good people by. It has to be business
Yes.
people.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
yeah,
I
go
can
ahead.
tell you, and I said this in a roundabout way, dealing with Mrs. Parks, dealing with Mr. Forbes for this team, it was a whole night and day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could always get Mrs. Parks. I could always tell her what I need, and it was done. If you look at the makeup of the staff, they were in the right direction, as I said,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
and there was a
global
little thing,
standard.
little things here and there could have been much better, but hey, I give them a B plus.
I am appealing to someone from the J3s right now. If you're listening to this interview, me know people are gonna try pass on this interview. I need somebody from the J3 to come and join me on the show. Make we have a conversation because the fans want to see the sports grow, and we already have the resources with the coaches and the athletes. So we just need the management structure to improve. Come on, let us have a conversation.
Like I said, coach, the end doesn't justify the means. We got 10 medals and we're happy, but I just showed you where with a little bit of luck we could have had 16, maybe 17.
Mm-hmm.
Not well, okay, two guys are gone, as I said, Pinnock and what's his name. But I'm just showing you what kind of medal count with a little bit of luck. And let's talk about this, coach. You think World Athletics created a window for the national championships because they were just whistling in the wind?
No.
Okay, so we had our national championships early, for whatever reason. Okay, and then what happened when the window was closed for everybody else to have competitions, have their national championship? We had no competitions for our athletes.
But don't you think the trials that they have was a hit, so to speak, because it ended up causing other persons to have enough time, like Ashanti, like Adrian Carr and others, could go out and make the qualifying standard. Don't you think that worked for them?
Yeah, but what happened after they ran in those meets? There was a lull before they went to the World Championships.
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly tell you, um, they had to take a break somewhere along the line,
Yeah.
and that break was a long break to get back into that racing mode that they had achieved, that form, because unless you were a super athlete, coach, you couldn't get in Lausanne, you couldn't get in Brussels.
Brussels, Cilicia.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
And there was very, very, then the small meats had dried up by then. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, it was a difficult, it was a difficult year. And I don't even know why they're having a meet in New York on Friday night.
So you're against that concept, or it's just the timing?
Well, I'm not against the concept. I'm against the timing. I'm against the timing, of course. I'm not against anybody making money and anybody putting big money into a meet. Why would I be against that? I just think you think about this, an athlete. Well, next year is an off year, but we're gonna be. I don't know what Friday night is gonna be, what the date is. But then when does the athlete get a rest, and then to come back and train? So fortunately, next year is an off year, so we really don't have. I think only the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
So
your
and
take on
and this whole thing about this ranking and all this stuff, Coach Minzy, we have one Diamond League meet in this region. One. We're addressing that right now in discussion with World Athletics. But where are all the other Diamond League meets and the Continental Tour meets, Coach Minzy?
All in Europe, right?
Thank you. And we have one meet, which is the Prefontaine meet. And you better be wearing some Nike shoes to get into that meet. So all this, the ranking thing that they talk about, in order to get you into these meets and to be ranked, it has to be revisited. Because there's no meets on this side for athletes to run. And as I tell athletes when they come to me, Coach Minzy, and they said, "Oh, I should be in this meet. I should be in this meet." I said, "Have you looked at the world rankings lately? Have you looked at the world times lately?" "No." Where are you on this world time? "Well, I'm number 38." "Well, there are 9 lanes in a track. Why do you think you would need to get a lane?"
Wow. So
Think about it.
It marginalized some of the athletes.
Yeah, of course. Well, not only the ranking, but in general, Coach.
Yeah.
I mean, the times that athletes are running right now, it's off the spear, There was a time when you could run 45.0 and you think you were running fast. Now, if you're running 44 or 43, you ain't running fast.
That is true. The game
and people, and you got to give some time. It comes back to what we were talking about, people telling people to go pro. You have to give some of these athletes a reality check. Tell me why you belong in a meet. And then let me give you let me take it one step further for you, Coach Minzy. So I have Minzy, great athlete. So in order for you to get Minzy, I say you got to take Cubie. Now Cubie don't deserve to be in a meet, but the meet promoter is going to give you a lead because he wants Minzy.
Yeah.
And then another athlete sitting there saying to me, "So how the hell Cubie get in a meet? I run faster than him, or I jump further than him. How do you explain that?" There's some people that do that.
Yeah, because we see some athletes in the circuit where you wonder how them getting a meets for real.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
So that, you know, when people sit there and they talk, they really, I don't want to say they're foolish. They just don't have the information. They don't understand how it works. Everybody wants to be an agent. Everybody wants to be a manager, but they just don't understand how it works. Coach.
Wow. What is your take on the Grand Slam thing?
Well, I mean, as you know, I took a different stand. I am not going to beat up on anybody. And I've been one of the advocates for Michael Johnson. I think, you know, he created something. And I can say on this program, I can confirm I did. I've gotten 50% of my clients' money. And I don't think it's unreasonable what has happened, because as I could tell you, Coach, one leading organization owed me money for over a year and 3 months and had me jump through so many hoops to get my money. I finally got it about a month ago. And it's normal that some athletes will, or some meets will pay us a month, 2 months, 3 months later. But what your followers don't know, we don't get. Look, the coaches, the athletes, and the managers carrying the sport right now. We pay for our athletes to go to all these meets, and then we got to wait to collect the money for them to wire us the travel money first and foremost, Coach. And then the second thing, we have to wait until all the doping control comes back before we can get paid the prize money or their parents' fee or whatever. And if I go to a meet, Coach Mincy, and they test 6 people, and they don't test me, but I have to wait till those 6 tests are clear before I get paid.
Oh.
See, people don't know that. So sometimes you're sitting there a month and a half waiting to get paid. And a person like me put out the money to go to a meet, and my credit card is running up interest because I'm now like $30,000 in debt. And even federations owe us money.
You mean J-Trace?
I'm not saying anything like that. You're trying to get me. I just read between the lines.
Man, all right, put on my glasses so I can read between them.
No, but it's facts. It's facts. It's facts. You know, people don't know that. The athletes don't get paid until the doping come back. Doping can come back in 1 month. It can come back in 2 months. Okay, even the travel money that we agreed to, we don't get it for a month or whenever they decide to send it. So we're sitting there with these massive credit card bills, you know, but we have to get the athletes to meet. And the athletes want to run.
And that happens with other meets. It's not only Grand Slam, you're saying.
Oh, yeah. I've shifted. I'm saying what Michael Johnson did was held athletics feet to the fire. So now if you look, some of the Diamond League meets are paying certain events more money. World Athletics is paying more money now at the World Championships. And however, they'll say to you, "Oh, well, it wasn't Michael Johnson. Council passed that. We passed that in thing." But they're paying more prize money now. The Diamond League final is paying more prize money. It's clear to see.
Yeah, that is true, and it was because of this conceptualization of
right, exactly. But people don't realize. So when people are bashing Michael Johnson, yeah, the people who are bashing him is the people who made a lot of big money. But hey, you know what you were getting into. Your manager signed the contract, you signed the contract, and there's nothing I can see. First, this is my opinion, abnormal as of now. I mean, 50% from 100%, Coach Menzie is a lot of money. Okay, and all I'm saying to you is that I don't know what happened internally, you know, as far as sponsors or as far as investors, but I've gotten 50% of my money and I'm happy. And it's within, you know, what I see as limits. So you don't see me as one of the people that are jumping up and down saying, "Hey, I want my money, I want this." You know?
Is there any condition outlined when you'll be getting the other?
Well, they said in the email they sent out, they said 60 days.
Okay.
But they've paid everybody across the board 50% of their money. Everybody.
Mhm.
So those people that were crying that made a lot of money, I presume they got 50% of their money. I know
Oh,
a few of my other colleagues have gotten 50% of their money.
okay. That is good. That is good.
That I checked,
Um,
and
for me, I think I like the concept of Grand Slam. I did not know what it was going to be like with the 3 days thing. It never did make no sense to me when it kick off and we see it start. We kind of understand the whole method behind the madness. So I think it's a good idea. It's just that probably bigger things out there probably trying to stop it, but it is what it is.
I mean,
I hope.
I know Michael as an athlete. I know him as an athlete,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't say that I'm good friends with him. I know him, and if he sees me in the airport or at the meet, we hail up each other. And when he was in Jamaica, we spoke. I gave him my ideas. I tell him what I thought before the meet. Whether or not he took it or not, that's up to him. But
Mm-hmm.
he's a good guy. I don't think Michael wants to tarnish his image, with owing people money. And a lot of people have done that to us and got away with it. And I don't see nobody jumping up and down and bashing a person. I mean, somebody tried to put money in people's pocket. And I mean, I have 50%. My client has 50% of his money in his pocket. And, other people have 50%. Some of those people that have 50% have $250,000.
Mm-hmm.
That is nothing to laugh at.
Yeah.
Think about the people who won 400,000 or whatever they won, and they got 200,000 now. Tell me which other meet our league they went to and got that kind of money.
Yeah.
So I'm not prepared to bash the guy. And 50% of the money within the time frame that they're paid is to me normal. And I challenge anybody to say differently.
Yeah.
Actually, we have around in the managers, Coach Menzie, we have a designated person that we report to when we haven't been paid, and they call the meet promoters and ask, "Where is the money?"
Mm-hmm.
Even with the doping, we have people that call up and find out that they've reported when all the doping is cleared, and so we expect to be paid once the doping is cleared.
Mm-hmm.
So and even a person that doesn't get tested doesn't get paid until all the doping results come back.
Yeah.
So
I
these
am.
are things people need to know.
Yeah, I'm happy that they are able to, at least pay 50%, and they're trying to work on that other 50. And you just highlighted that 50 could very well be over 200,000 for some people. So I mean, it's a tidy sum that they're still getting. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So it is good. Um, Otto Bowling made a comment about Elaine, and it had the whole Jamaica track and field space in a frenzy. Whole lot of conversation taking place about
Mhm.
Elaine Thompson era. What are your thoughts about that comment? And if you further want to comment about Elaine's career, where do you see it as it stands?
Well, I saw the headline, but I didn't read or listen to it. Okay, if you can believe that, because I'm not a Otto Bolden fan. I can tell you, Otto Bolden was one of the people that told me that there was nobody can run like that when I told him about Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me, "Oh, QB, you just big up the Jamaicans all the time. There, nobody can run like Usain Bolt." When I told him about Usain Bolt when he ran at the junior championships with his chain in his mouth and the shoelace was untied and his singlet down his sleeve and stuff, he told me that. He
So
said
yeah.
to me, "Oh, you're always bigging up the Jamaicans. There, nobody can run like that." And
Mm.
I think that resonated for a long time with Bolt, because you know um sometimes, coach, everybody has an opinion, but they're not entitled to the facts.
Yeah.
And I think Otto sometimes inappropriately disses a lot of the Caribbean countries.
Mm.
And I mean, I can't sit and watch a meet and watch Otto do American meet and he's praising American athletes, and he doesn't even give us what people don't know. Sometimes, coach, and I'll share a secret. These Diamond League meets, it comes across like they know everything, right? But they're pre-recorded, and they're voiceover pre-recording, so they don't know the results.
Okay. Pre-recorded.
Well, you know what I mean when you see a meet. Sometimes but I mean, I everybody's entitled to opinion. Sometimes I think Otto takes it to the max, like he's the smartest person in the room. And I mean, I'm cordial with him, but I know Otto's an athlete, so it's not that he's smarter than me.
Did he
He,
represent? Did he represent you? You represented him?
oh hell no.
No, man. That sound like a deep thing. You and him have beef?
No, we
Oh,
don't.
okay, okay.
No, we don't. But I have an opinion.
Mm.
I mean, I have an opinion about some of the announcers in Jamaica too. I mean, I like things that are even, coach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to diss another athlete over another athlete, because I learned a long time ago, coach. The person that I used to sit in the stands and watch people laugh at the person that is bringing last in a race and that stuff, but they don't know what it is to train to even be last in a race. You know what I'm saying? And so when people sit in the stands and laugh at people who've gotten last in a race or whatever, they could never train to be last in a race. So they're just fans that are dissing somebody that they don't know anything about.
Mm-hmm.
So Otto is entitled to his opinion. I mean, I don't know what Elaine's situation is. To be honest, I've never met Elaine.
Really? After
No,
being in the
never,
game so long?
never met her.
Wow.
Never met her formally. I mean, I know who she is. I've seen her.
Mm-hmm.
Great athlete, great athlete. Maybe made some, bad decisions, but hey, I don't know the particulars, so I can't comment. I just wish her well, though, because she's a great sprinter.
Yeah, definitely.
Just besieged by injuries and stuff. So I've never met her formally. I've never talked to her, or stuff. But of course, I know who she is. But that tells you about me. I just don't, push up on nobody that, because I'm sure they know who I am, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, but that's something that's stuck in my head for a long time. With what he said, and I
Yeah.
live to see them regret it.
Yeah, because Bolt went on to run 9.5.
Boss, trust me. You see, they never realized that they didn't pay attention when he was world record holder. Nobody knew that he was world record holder. They just think he appeared just like that. But they never pay attention to the juniors.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because I think a lot of fans outside of Jamaica, because even Brian Level, several of them,
right, I was just about to say that to you. I was just
yeah,
about to say that.
they don't pay attention
I was
to
just
the
about to say
junior
that.
sports. So when you
Yes,
have a Brian Level come to the fore, when you have a Sabrina Docker, she ever come to the fore, them are gonna say, "Who is this girl? Where is she from? Whatever." Because them are
exactly.
watch the thing. You understand? I
But
think Jamaicans are some of the smartest track and field minds out there.
true, true, and
That's that
that
without
yeah,
reservation.
I was just about to say that to you. I was just about to
Mm-hmm.
reference Lavelle. People want to know where this guy appeared from, but nobody ever followed his career.
Mm-hmm.
They never followed his career, so they think he just showed up.
Showed up, right, right. And him just last year
Yeah,
when him run the first sub 10 and the first sub 19, they just think say all of a sudden him just do it back to back. But he has been in the wings a long
yeah. I
time.
mean, he ran what 19.7 in the races Grand Prix winded.
Yeah.
But of course nobody paid attention. So when he just shows up, people think, oh wow, he just showed up. Where'd he come from? That's what they always say. Where'd he come from? But
Yeah.
they don't know champ. See, and that's where somebody like a Noah Lyles, people brag on Noah Lyles, but Noah Lyles does his homework, man. The
Mm.
guy is a track enthusiast. He knows everything. You tell him about Jamaican athletics, he know every damn athlete.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's him or his girlfriend educating him, his fiance, the guy knows everything about Jamaicans and Jamaican athletes.
Yeah, because if I mean US versus Jamaica is always the big thing, and if he's gonna compete against these athletes, I think he wants to find out what is happening.
He studies. He
Understand?
studies.
Yeah.
He takes his stuff very serious. You can say what you want to say about him, but the guy is a competitor, and you can't wrong somebody like that.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you gotta appreciate his talent.
That is true. That is true.
You gotta appreciate his talent. Anyhow, coach, what else you got for me?
Oh, all right. Finally, so like you're ready for go because I see like somebody, beckon to you.
Oh, you had me
Inter-
for 2 hours and 19 minutes, coach.
yeah, definitely. Finally, because I looked at the questions that I had and I realized that somehow away along the line you touched some of them. But this one, are you mentoring any young manager right now who because you'd have had a wealth of knowledge? Is there someone that you're like your son or your family member that you're investing in to
No, no. I've
take
always been
over?
a one man band, and well, in my company, I have one other person, which is a famous Winthrop Graham. He handles all the finances in my
Mm-hmm.
company, and there's a specific reason I had him in because I didn't want to be touching the money. Once the money comes in, I invoice and requisition, and he sends it out immediately, so nobody can say I hold their money. Once the
Mm,
money hits our account, coach, it's gone to the athlete. That I can tell you. And that's the reason Winthrop Graham is there, because that was he was a former athlete. He's a multimillionaire, and he makes sure that the money goes straight to the athletes once it hits our account. We don't hold it for 60 days or 30 days or to the end of the season like some of these other managers, and they tell
mm.
the athletes it's gone. We don't want it in our account. And he's
Okay.
totally in charge of that. And
Well,
people don't even know that he deals with all of that. But
so
no, but I mean, there's some managers that that would come and ask me questions, and I would help them. But I don't want to say that I'm mentoring anybody. No,
okay,
I
okay.
just if somebody comes and asks me questions, and people who appreciate my knowledge, if they come and sit with me and talk to me, of course I would share things with them. But I haven't found anybody that is like I am, that cares about the athletes and so forth and so on. Oh, one thing I want to volunteer to you. Um, my relationship with Puma, and people say I'm an Adidas this and I'm Adidas that. Let me tell you, I mean, the owner of Puma would be rolling in his grave. May he rest in peace, knowing that I wear three stripes or that I help three stripes.
Yeah.
Because the fierce rivalry between Puma and Adidas, and I come out of the old Puma.
Mm,
But in 2000, this is a very interesting story, and I chose to tell you it. Tell your followers. In 2000, the guy that took over Adidas in athletics came from South Africa, and it was just when apartheid had finished, and they weren't allowed to watch the Olympics or any meetings outside in South Africa. So he only knew about athletics in South Africa and cricket, etc., etc.
mm-hmm,
And he came to Sacramento in 2000. It was the first time he got the job, and they shipped him off to America to the national championships in Sacramento, California. And of course, a lot of managers met him, and they were taking the joke about him, oh, here's this guy, he doesn't know anything. But what I did, coach, is I sat down with him, we had breakfast, and he said, tell me about athletics in the West. And I explained everything about it, and I told him about Jamaica and the athletes in Jamaica, because they never knew about Jamaica and that kind of stuff in South Africa, athletes, they weren't allowed to see athletics. And we built up a business relationship from that day. I told him about Veronica Campbell and Kim Collins and all these athletes that, he never knew about. And it turned out that it became great. So we built a good business relationship. And my relationship with Adidas is with him, not with the brand itself as Adidas,
mm-hmm.
And I find him to be very humanistic in dealing with athletes. He's very accommodating, whereas other people is just business minding and looking to cut cut you and whatever and whatever. Um, he always looks on the positive within the negative of an athlete. And he would think twice before he cuts an athlete or reduce an athlete and so on. So we built a relationship all these years. And I'll tell you an interesting story, which you'll like. So I brought him to Champs, the first time I ever brought him to Champs to see.
Yeah.
And I invite a lot of people to come to Champs. So when they see it, they're blown away because by far it's one of the greatest meets in the world, including the Olympics, as far as I'm concerned. And so he was sitting in the stands, and the place is going crazy, Coach Menzie, and a lot of noise. And a Rasta guy came up to him and said to him, "White boy, you ever see anything like this? You ever see black people, behaving like this and da 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 da?" And he said, "Boy, we're Africans, we come." And he looked at him and he said to him, "Listen, you want to be an African, but I'm an African." The Rasta said to him, "So what do you mean? What do you mean?" He said, "I'm a born South African." "Where you born?" I don't even want to tell you that Rasta guy's face. I don't even, that's a true story. And
Wow.
every time we tell that story, it's crazy. Because I guess the Rasta thought it was just some white boy sitting in the stands, coach or recruiting or something, and I mean we tell that story and it's like, and he comes to Jamaica a lot. He vacations in Jamaica now. Yeah, so that's how I got with the Three Stripes, because I spent that time at breakfast, not teaching him, but explaining the whole thing to him. And because during apartheid they didn't have any time to see it, like, so when he was thrust into the job, he had to learn it. He had to learn about all these countries and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's I think that's a good story to end on.
Yeah, man.
Unless you have another question, man.
No, I'm just proving to you that the notion was out there. You see this person, that question on the screen? Why you mash up Blake? And I think it is you and the person is talking here. So I'm not making up no stories.
But I asked him, how did I mash up Blake? He doesn't know what he's talking about. Blake left my management in 2021. He left Coach Mills in 2019. So what mashing up? Who mashed up Blake? He does. You see, they don't know. They don't know what they're talking about.
So this
Let me say something to you about Blake. Blake is one of the hardest working athletes.
Yeah,
He's one of the
that's for sure.
hardest. He overtrains, and he's one of the hardest working athletes. That's what I can tell you. And a lot of times Johan got hurt because he overtrained and he worked too hard. But he's never seen a workout that he didn't want to do. So I don't know what he's talking about, that person. So if he can show me where that's facts, and I'm saying that on your show, Coach Menzie. See, that's what people talk about stuff. Go pull down, tell him to spend some money and invest in the finished website and look at every year of his career and see how he was mashed up. He came back 2019 when he left the coaching of Coach Mills. He ran 10.19 that year, all the way back from massive surgery. And he left, and in 2021 we parted. Okay, so I don't know what he's talking about, mashup.
Yeah, but like I said, people were of that notion. That's why I'm happy that somebody was brave enough to say it in the chat as well.
Well, they say a lot of things, Coach.
Yeah.
And like I said, people are entitled to their opinion, but they're not entitled to the facts.
That's so true. And like you said, that story was a very good way to end the show. I really appreciate you coming on the show and giving us some gems, telling us the history of this whole Nike, Adidas in Jamaica, and we're not really a Puma country, so I don't know why we latch on to certain things. It was just a good story. You know what I mean? And we appreciate you for being here. Thank you very much. Like I said, several persons are afraid to come on the show. I don't know why, but big up yourself.
Let me say this last, Coach. I want the best for Jamaica. I want to win at with Jamaica. I don't want to win at all costs, but I want to win, and I want the best for Jamaica. So I'm not partisan in anything.
Yeah.
You understand? And I just want the best for them. And if I can help, like I've been helping and doing it, I will do it. And that's why I came on this show, to clear up some of the nonsense that is being said and done. And I give credit where it's due, and I take back credit where it isn't due. So it's not like I beat up the J3s. I told them after last year, they've made great strides. They could have done a few other things that would make it, but nobody's perfect. I gave them a B plus.
Yeah,
and I think the mere fact that they included a female coach this time might not be the female coach that everybody wanted, but it was the first time they sent a female coach on a team, and they had a safeguard officer, and they had some great upper management people, and good therapy people and so on. So yeah, if they listen, they can make some and start being not catering to one person or one set of people, but to the whole country or the whole athletic fraternity. Then I think we would be on our way.
Definitely. All right. Give thanks for that, man. Bless up yourself. Hope you enjoy your evening. We know you went half an hour over. Big up to the people who stick on.
Yes, tell them. We agreed to 2 hours.
Yeah, people, we agreed to 2 hours and it went over. But again, we thank Cubie for being here.
And I enjoyed it, Coach. I enjoyed it.
That sounds good. So definitely you can stop by again, because we see some people in the comments.
Nah. Coach, you got to be like fine. You got to be like fine wine. You only appear when you think it's. So, then I'll become like stale, and people say, "Oh, there's QB again."
Yeah,
but it's always interesting. I know people like to hear my opinion and stuff. Yeah, but man. I mean well. I don't mean nobody. I just tell it like it is, Coach.
Yeah, definitely.
And I say to people out there, if you have receipts and you can refute me, come on. Come on.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. And the people enjoy you being here. So again, big up yourself. And I want you to send me that document so I can look at it and make it, so we can probably do a video upon it. But anyways, big up yourself. People, please show up tomorrow night. Again, we'll be having Orlando Bennett, the silver medalist from the Tokyo Games. He'll be on the show tomorrow evening. You can't afford to miss that one, people. Back to back to back. Big up, Sir Cubie. People, stay safe. Until next time. Peace.
Your style and your flavor make the city rock. They must say the season come out with a bang. Coach Minzy, best round here. Remember that.
Oh, people, before we go, see it there? Before we go, catch a vibes. Yeah, man, no catch a vibes. You see me? Catch a vibe. Go upon the website. When me drop in the comment, in the past few videos, and go catch a vibes. You understand? Big up to Algie for that super chat. Sorry if somebody never mentioned it, but big up yourself. Until next time again.
Your style and your flavor make the city rock. They must say the season come out with a bang. Coach Minzy, best round here. Remember that.